Hello, everyone. Excited to share this with you. Sasha and I'll be presenting, but Sasha will be consulting. This is something new and exciting. I don't know if anyone heard about pranayama techniques. We're going to talk about pranayama techniques that, in the context of Buteyko, we're going to examine 6 different techniques. Today is the first one, and practice them as well so that we can have a wider range of possibilities of practicing Buteyko method. I want to share a quote, which I am not sure whose quote is it, but I know it's a quote of a Indian yogi from ancient times, perhaps. I'm not sure, but I liked it a lot. It refers to the method of practicing breathing techniques, the method whereby the life force can be activated or regulated in order to go beyond one's normal boundaries or limitations and attain a higher state of vibratory energy and awareness. I think this really fits what we're doing here with the Buteyko method in our lives. So what is pranayama? Pranayama, just the word pranayama, as the slide explains, basically means a practice of life force or vital energy. It either is translated as control of it or expansion of it. I think either explanation is accurate. I like the expansion of it, actually. I want to mention that in the ancient text of yogic practices, they called Vedas, there are numerous different breathing techniques, not specifically, we usually think of them as yoga practices, the physical yoga, but in actuality, they were mostly, if not all, just meditation and breathing techniques for liberation of one's mind. And then I think later on they were developed into physical practice as well, but the breathing techniques have been the core of the Vedic practices. I think it's very interesting. I think it's also, I feel that it's just emphasizes what we are being taught here and what we experience in our lives, that the breath is the single most important activity that encompasses everything. Okay, sorry, I'm struggling with this a bit. So pranayama is a practice of relating to the breath, regulation of breath, control of breath, and it helps us to, in general terms, unblock different things within our system. In Vedic tradition, also in ancient Chinese traditions, they describe things inside of us as channels. So the breath and the expansion of prana within us can unblock these different channels and allow us to be healthier, to be calmer, and to experience life in the most richful way. I'm going to be very short with this because I know we're short on time. I'm always amazed when I read about this that the yogis of the past, without having the knowledge of all the scientific experiments, they knew that the breath was the most important thing, and they've developed these exercises to regulate it. They knew that if the breathing was proper, certain things can be changed, can be brought to balance within us, not only on the physical level, but also on mental and spiritual level. So the breath affects our whole state of being. I love that. I have browsed through these benefits, wanting to share as many as I could, but at the same time, we, the Buteyko practitioners, know the benefit of our breath. And pranayama techniques definitely align with all the benefits that we generally know. So it's the regulation of certain physiological mechanism in our body. We received more oxygen into our organs. The flow of energy, so-called prana or chi, also flows more freely in our body, regulating everything from the physical realm to our mental realm. So we become calmer, happier, more balanced, and also spiritual realm as well. I have listed here that different types of pranayama have specific benefits. And sometimes, or even most of the time, they relate to a specific part of the body. So today we're going to practice Ujjayi breath, which is specifically related to the throat. Sometimes it's with the nose, sometimes it's with the chest, or with the belly, or both. And I think that we can choose them depending on what we need or how we feel about them or what's beneficial for us. Most of them regulate the breathing by extending the breath and also the stimulation of certain parts of the body, so strengthening the muscles, let's say, of the throat. And at the same time, stimulating the chakra, the energy center of throat. And since we are learning how to speak according to the Buteyko method, so speaking on the exhalation, stimulating and energizing this area will also help us. Other types of pranayama are balancing or relaxing. Ujjayi breath is also a relaxing type of breath. All of them actually are quite relaxing, at the same time energizing. That's what I've been reading. Besides stimulating different parts of the body and learning how to lengthen or it's not really deepening, but also I also don't like controlling, more like expanding it allows us to have a different relationship with the breath as well. Because the more breathing exercises we do, the more aware we are of breathing and how it inhibits us from within and without. So today we are learning the first technique, which is called Ujjayi breathing. Sometimes people say Ujjayi, not Ujjayi. It's called victorious breath, as you can see from the slide. Also, it's sometimes called ocean breath. But I want to mention that a lot of teachers say that the breath must be audible, but the way I've learned it is that you're the only one who should hear it. And I thought that it was very interesting because we always talk in Buteyko about gentle, quiet breathing. And even though when you practice this breathing, there is this distinctive sound, but a lot of traditional teachers say that the breath shouldn't be heard by anyone but only you. So that's something to keep in mind. But we, in the modern times, we call it ocean breath because people tend to produce a very loud sound, or even Darth Vader breath. Benefits of Ujjayi breathing, as I said before, Ujjayi breathing regulates the flow of prana or chi, the flow of our life energy. So it is very good for the mind and body system. It cleanses the channels that are called either nadis or meridians, depending on the tradition. And it helps us to overcome fatigue, stress, or negativity. It also clears the main channel within our body, so the channel that runs along the spine. If you are feeling agitated, anxious, or nervous, doing this rhythmic Ujjayi breathing also can help regain focus and be more energized. So it's a good micro break if you're working in front of the computer all day and you can spare a few moments, you can do the Ujjayi breathing. Let's practice. So I'm going to explain how to start. Sasha, please jump in anytime you feel like there can be a correction made. A lot of times in the West, pranayama practices are used in the physical practice, but I would recommend not to do that as starters. It's better to sit down or stand up. I'm going to be sitting down. The most important thing is that your spine is straight. So if you're sitting on a chair and you have a tendency to lean back, either put a small pillow behind your back so that you're not collapsing, or sit at the edge of the chair with your feet flat on the ground so that you have a nice lengthening in your diaphragm and your chest is beautifully open and lifted. Your hands can be resting on your thighs or along your body. We're going to take a few moments just to reconnect with our breathing in the way we naturally breathe. Just breathe in and out in the most natural way. There is no need to control the breath in any way. And now we're going to open our mouth on our exhalations while saying a syllable, ah. I'm going to demonstrate this. You can imagine that you have a mirror in front of you and you're trying to fog the mirror, or you have glasses. Oh, oh, oh. You can release the hand and just continue. Oh. So what happens is you slightly contract the back of the throat. It's called glottis. And we hardly ever use this muscle. And by that, we're narrowing the passage of air. And that's why we have this sound. And in the beginning, it's okay to have this sound quite loud because we're practicing. You can drop the ah and then just say, oh. Breathing through your nose and then releasing on the sound. Let's do this 3 more times in your own pace. Now, all pranayama practices are done with closed mouth, only through the nose. So now close your mouth, do the same constriction in the back of your throat, and exhale with the mouth closed through your nose. Okay. Now, the traditional way, I'm not sure if in the past in India they would teach that, but in modern times, traditionally, it is taught to first start breathing through the mouth. So you inhale through the mouth, which we will not do. We're going to continue breathing through our nose, so taking inhalations through the nose. But still, since now you have kind of like evoked that little spot behind your, in the back of your throat, see if you can breathe in the air and also activate. So gently close the back of your throat and create the same sound while the air is going in. Keep it going. Now, take a pause. I want to say that I always notice that my exhalation lengthens, not deepens. I don't know if you've noticed that, Sasha. Any question? Any questions, actually? No. This way of breathing. Alejandro wrote something. Hold on.
Yeah, just a question. At the end, this helps also to heal the throat, this way of breathing? Because
I don't know.
No? Okay.
It's a good question, but I don't know. I know that so usually, like with everything we do, like let's say exercising, we need to energize the muscles. And I know that many people don't even think about that there is a muscle there. So when I learned about this method, I learned that having the muscles activated helps if you actually are sick, so that it can recuperate faster because the muscle is being activated, and it's like its own thing that can heal itself. But I've never read about a specific way of healing throat through Ujjayi breathing.
Okay, thank you.
So if there are no questions, I think I would like to do this for maybe a couple of minutes. However, I would like you to just observe yourself. If you think it's too much, I've noticed with myself, if I only switch to taking inhales through my nose regularly and then exhaling with the Ujjayi breath, it also helps, because in the beginning it's very difficult to activate this. Sometimes people will feel a little bit of sensitivity. So just observe yourself. Otherwise, notice how the breathing is being lengthened. You can close your eyes and just having a good time meditating. Okay. So again, check your posture, make sure that you're... Sasha, you want to say something?
I just want to add that to make this type of breathing safe, please inhale gently, of course, and invisibly, especially for new people. Avoid doing big breaths.
Yes, thank you, Sasha. It's still diaphragmic breathing. So we are not breathing through the upper part of our respiratory system, but through the lower part. So we're not getting the breath stuck in our chest, and you will notice, because it's actually spontaneously lengthening the breath, so you're going all the way in and out. So check your posture, make sure you're relaxed, but your spine is straight. Move your shoulders away from your ears. Maybe gently squeeze your shoulder blades together. Just notice that you're not collapsing in your chest. Close your eyes. First, gently breathe. And then when you're ready, begin the Ujjayi breathing, constricting the back of your throat, and the exhalation and inhalation. If you're able to hear your own breath, you can imagine that it's like an ocean and waves coming and going. It's pretty relaxing. Okay. Would anyone would like to share your experience, your thoughts? Have you noticed any changes in your breathing pattern, and how do you feel maybe calmer or maybe not? Sasha, you're unmuted. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. So my experience was that it was easy to do this technique on exhalation, but at the beginning I wasn't able to do it on an inhalation. But eventually I was able to apply that to inhalation as well. Also found difficult not to increase my air intake significantly. That I noticed that my whole body wants to move and I want to take a big breath. So I had to control it. And I definitely experienced lengthening of my breathing pattern. And I do feel, it's very subtle, but I do feel better, kind of more peaceful, at the same time more energetic right now.
Yes, this is definitely the description of Ujjayi breath, that it relaxes and energizes at the same time. I think, I don't know if you and I feel the same, maybe all Buteyko practitioners will have a difficulty to breathe, to have that, to allow yourself to take that breath in, because it also was difficult for me, because I have a tendency to have a to control my intake, right? And here it has to be a little bit open, but don't be afraid, because what we're doing is narrowing the passageway here. So before it reaches the lungs, it's being narrowed. So in actuality, when the air passes through your throat, it's not that full breath that you're taking in, because you're constricting the throat here. So I think it's mental, that you have to kind of allow yourself to do it, right? But not when the throat is not constricted, but when it's constricted.
Yeah, I believe that it's definitely qualifies as a Buteyko technique, because everyone here who had or has asthma knows that feeling when the airways become constricted, right? And it reduces, it's like breathing slow through a narrow straw, and it reduces the air intake. So the body creates this mechanism, to increase CO2 by itself, and Dr. Buteyko called it, a biologically superior mechanism, and a very fortunate thing to have. That we are very fortunate if you have it. Those people who have it are very fortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to mention one more visual thing. Thank you for mentioning the straw, because the way it's explained, it also uses the analogy of a straw, but also of a water pipe. So you have a water pipe and the water flows freely through the water pipe. But if you have a valve and you gently turn the valve to narrow the passage of the water, not all the water will pass through, right? All the water can pass through, but in a longer period of time. So lengthening is what really this technique is spontaneously teaching us. I mean, I hope that everyone noticed it, but if not, try it again. Give it a try. It works.